Cricket is my passion and I cannot avoid it.
Hello and good afternoon to all the beautiful people of UAE. Today I have a guest on my show who is not who is not just represented India in different forms of cricket, in fact all forms of cricket, but today also has been a very successful commentator. When I say a very successful commentator, there are many commentators who are in the fringe who do for Star Sports or different media. But this one commentator which I'm talking about has been spot on in his comments, his analysis about the game. And also, when I say that he is a dear friend, because he's come on the show on a phone call. Welcome to the show, Murali.
Thanks a lot, Anishji. Thanks for having me, and thanks for those very, very kind words. I don't know whether anything fits with me.
No, of course it fits. Now, let me talk about his career. Even though he must have played for India for just 8 test matches, but he was responsible for India winning games. He's played, for everybody's knowledge, 203 first class games, which is quite huge. And to pick up 644 wickets is no easy mean. And during those times, there were many spinners in the Indian squad. So it was not that easy to get in. But nonetheless, Murali Karthik is in front of us. So we are going to begin with him. How's Murali Karthik and how's Delhi treating Murali Karthik?
So it's been fine, to be very honest. As everyone knows, we have been hit by a strong wave. And I think the most important thing for everyone right now, we need to be very responsible socially. I think when I'm say responsible, you all realize that it's only by meeting or by going out that you're going to spread this disease. Yes, I understand that people want to lead their lives normally, but unfortunately, I always believe in control the controllables. And the most important thing to control is your own self right now. So I've just been sitting at home after the IPL was suspended. I came back home and I've just been sitting at home doing nothing. So basically, you can say I'm a glorified couch potato for the moment. Yes, there have been some relaxations, but I don't think we are in a state or in a position to be normal. So I think that's why I said that all of us need to be responsible. Just because there are certain relaxations, we shouldn't be going out. People might then ask, what do I do? I spend a lot of time reading books. I spend a lot of time watching OTTs nowadays. So I don't even know how the day goes. So I'm fine and in good spirits.
Wonderful. That's wise words from Murali Karthik, that you need to be sure what you're doing in this tough time and make sure that you don't go out and spread the virus among the people. Anyway, Murali, second question I want to ask you is, you've from a professional cricketer now, you've become.
I wouldn't say there wasn't any. For me, there was inspiration in cricket, but I wouldn't say for commentary there was an inspiration per se. I adore and I'm very fond and I look up to lots of people for the way they commentate. But I wouldn't say there was an inspiration because this was something which happened to me over a course of time. I'd been doing analysis because analysis is very different to commentary. Analysis is like you ask me a question and I reply to the best of my ability. Whereas commentary is extempo, you're constantly you're trying to be slightly ahead of the game. You're describing what's happening and it's live. You can't make mistakes. Live, there are chances of making mistakes. So it's very different. And that's why it's called commentary. So commentary was something which happened as I was about to call it quits on the game, which was 2014. It my way. And that's where I decided that it's possibly time to say alvida to my playing career, which spanned around 26 years, and get into this, because even over here you need to carve a niche for yourself. It's not easy because we haven't been groomed or schooled in broadcasting. So people are going to start listening to you because you are a former cricketer, but beyond the point, they are only going to listen to you if you're a good broadcaster. So there are lots of things which you learn along the way, lots of things which you keep polishing along the way to keep reinventing the wheel and keep reinventing yourself and not become stale. So there are lots of people I look up to for the way they commentate, but I wouldn't say there was an inspiration per se.
Fair point. Only the World Test Championship. Ravi Shastri called as daddy of all World Cups. Uh, the broadcaster is saying it's the ultimate test. What's your opinion about this?
So anybody who's played the game for such a long time, or anybody who comes from that era, all of us are going to say that there is nothing bigger than Test cricket, because it is an ultimate test of your cricketing skills, acumen, your cricketing stamina, and it tests you in every way. That is possibly one of the reasons why it's called a test. And it's so happy. I feel so happy because I'm very old school in my thought process. I don't even like those numbers and names behind in a test t-shirt. So I'm so old school. And for me, it's so good to see that we have a World Cup for 50 overs. We have a World Cup for T20s. But test match cricket is where everything is. And for that matter, it's a hard grind. It's a marathon. And marathons are not won in one day. Marathons are not, you can say they're won in one day, but they're not won in 100 meters, is what I'm trying to say, or 200 meters. It's a hard grind. It is going to test you individually and collectively as a team in many different ways. And at the end of the road, it's good to see the two top teams have come. Whether the way the World Test Championship has been held is flawed, I think that is something which everybody has been feeling, because sometimes you have a 2-test series which has got the same number of points. Then a 5-test series also has got the same number of points, and it's divided. So people can always choose any weaker opponent and just play 2 test matches because you get 120 points. So the way it was conducted could be flawed, but if you look at it, 2 of the best teams have come out. Whether whatever be the way or the means to it, the ends has been perfect or justified in that India and New Zealand have been 2 of the best sides, to been very consistent sides, and it is a mouth-watering prospect to see 2 good nations going at each other at a very neutral venue. Yes, I'm a bit disappointed that having gone all the way to London and looking at the fact that certain relaxations have been allowed, the World Test Championship final could have been at Lord's because it's a showpiece event. I would have preferred it at Lord's, but again, having said that, it's a great justification or just grand finale to what has been an absolute terrific year for test playing nations.
So beautifully said by Murali Karthik about what test cricket is and what it means to you as well as to people who have played this game at the highest level, and how difficult it is to pass this strenuous test. Now we saw yesterday when finally play resumed how testing conditions were and how Indian batsmen fought. At the same time, New Zealand bowlers came back. What was your assessment about yesterday's game?
Yeah, it was a bit a good cat and mouse game, because look, there are some wonderful stroke players. Shubman Gill, Rohit Sharma, they got off to a very good start given the conditions. But New Zealand, they have that kind of an attack which can peg you back. And again, in England and in those kind of conditions, you're never set. You could be on 30, you could be on 40, you could even be on 50, 60. But there's always one delivery which surprises you. And that is exactly what happened yesterday. It was good to see them coming back. It's tantalizingly poised if you look at it. It's 146 for 3. Yes, Virat is there, but again, he has to come back today and get set. And even if you look at the way Virat played, he was content to leave lots of deliveries. He was happy playing the waiting game. He is biding his time. Yes, you have an exciting man coming in next, Rishabh Pant. Ajinkya Rahane is looking good, but it's a matter of couple of wickets. And again, India will have to do a lot of work. So the first session today, or possibly the first 2 hours, just not the first hour, just the first 2 hours of day 3 will be very important from an Indian point of view. Yes, India do have the bowling, but you still want, going into a final, to have a good first innings total from where you can at least dictate terms.
You rightly mentioned that in England, even though you must be batting on 30, 40, 50 or 60, you don't know whether what would be the next ball, because the ball keeps on seaming and swinging throughout the day. And we saw yesterday, even after 50 overs, it was swinging around. And one good ball, you can nick it and probably edge it to the keeper or the slips. Now, having said that, even though New Zealand had a very good potent pace, do you feel they missed a trick by not playing Ajaz Patel?
Um, Look, it's sometimes teams tend to do that, especially against India, because India are seen as better players of spin, and also given what they have, it's a question of. I personally like a spinner. I don't play for the first day or the second day. You have to think of day 3, day 4, day 5. But there are times where we have played games where we, for a fact, know that possibly a spinner is never going to come into play. That's possibly what Kane Williamson and his team management thought. Because again, for us sitting afar, it's sometimes very difficult to judge what's happening on the ground. Yes, it looked green. Yes, the conditions were seemer friendly, and in England, sometimes in those conditions, you're always having one or a couple of seamers fresh to come back. So sometimes you wonder, oh, are we wasting a spot by playing a spinner who might get what 6 or 7 days in an over, which even Kane Williamson can bowl, or someone else can chip in, and also they have somebody like Colin de Grandhomme who was doing a great job. So it's a tough one. Again, if you ask me, I would still pick a spinner, but they had gone in with the concept of no Mitchell Santner in the 15, because Mitchell Santner's batting can be a bit handy. They had decided to go in with Ejaz, who bowled well or decently well against England in that series victory. So those could be the reasons, but personally, if you ask me, you always think day 4, day 5, end of day 3 as well. So I would always pick a spinner.
Now, my next question obviously is they haven't picked a spinner and we have picked two. India has got it right.
Look, India is blessed because you've got somebody like a Washington Sundar, and who, although hasn't played too many first-class game, did well in Test match cricket when the opportunity was presented to him. Whether right or whether wrong, that's a different situation. Akshay Patel, in Ravindra Jadeja's absence, literally rocked England. But then the quality of these two spinners for what they've done together or individually for Indian cricket over the last 6-7 years, I think accounts for something. It's good to see that both of them have been picked in foreign conditions. The reason being, you've got 3 quality seamers, which India have picked. And also you've got 2 quality spinners who can bowl in any conditions, who can do a different job. So Ravichandran Ashwin, for all the experience and craft, he knows that when he bowls on day 1, what is his role? What is the requirement for the team? Similarly, Ravindra Jadeja can slip into any role. When the opportunity on the pitch presents itself, he'll be a match winner. At other times, he's going to give control to the captain. So when the seamers are fresh, they're back again. And also the fact that they bat well. So India is just blessed because these 2 guys bat really well and they're in good form. So I think India made the right call. I think I would always want to see 5 of the best bowlers play together. It was good to see that.
Very true, Murali. Now, what is a score you think would be safe for India? That yes, they have done the hard work batting first, and this should be it where India can probably call the shots.
I would say 350 is a realistic target, Anishji. From here on, 200 runs. If we get more than that, that'll be brilliant. But I'd be happy with 350 because again, these conditions are not going anywhere unless and until there's bright sunshine and things change drastically. I think India will always be in with a chance because of its quality bowling attack, and also they can keep pegging away at the New Zealand batting. But I suppose, as I said, the first 2 hours of today's play for another foundation, then Rishabh Pant can express himself. The likes of Jadeja and Ravichandran Ashwin, they will bat well. So I'm sure that from the situation we are in, 350 I would be happy with.
350, that means you're talking about
200.
almost 200 runs.
Yeah. We've got 7 batsmen. We've got Virat at the crease. We've got Ajinkya Rahane. So we would hope that 350 is on the cards.
Well, we hope that India can manage 350. Now, my last question probably for this test match. With rain also predicted today, I'm glad that they've had that extra day. You think the match getting over in this stipulated 6, rather now 4 days left?
Yeah,
presuming 300 overs maximum, keeping in mind 20 overs cut off every day.
I'm just backing India to get them. Whenever we finish our innings, hopefully Indian bowlers can skittle the New Zealand team.
All right. Murli is confident that India might skittle the New Zealand batsmen out with their guile and the quality of bowlers they have. Now, Murli, I remember, there was a time when you were playing IPL and Indian cricket rather. You had that brownish hair. What was all that about?
So
Oh, now,
now you see
what
that I have.
inspired you to get into that?
Okay, it was an experiment gone wrong.
Oh, no, you
I
look
knew,
beautiful on TV.
yeah, I knew that there would come a time in life where I would be like this. So I thought when I'm younger, might as well experiment with a few things. And I always was very fond of the salt and pepper look. I always wanted a salt and pepper look, but I thought that possibly I won't get to that stage. But by the time my time to gray comes, I'll possibly have no hair. So when I had hair and I was playing county cricket, I went to a place and I said, "Look, I want black and white." So basically, the peroxide or the dye or whatever they do, the process, I wanted a white and black look. The end result was I was blonde and black. So I had blonde streaks in black hair rather than bleached white hair and black hair. So it was an experiment gone wrong, and also with curly hair, it looks nice. And this is exactly what I had. But that was a long time ago. Um, and as I said, it was an experiment gone wrong.
No, I don't think so. Trust me, you look very, very charming. And, that's what you see now, the new generation trying to showcase, especially the West Indians. Nonetheless, you also had a different type of a celebration whenever you got that wicket. Now, what was behind that? Was it to give the batsman the signal that, yes, I've got you?
I would say it was just very instinctive, Anisji. I was very competitive by nature. And this was
Yes.
only when I went into the field. So I had a bit of a yellow line fever or white line fever, whatever they want to call it. So it was always something which went with me every time I played. And it was not the case outside the ground. So what happened was that you always got tagged for what you were and how you were on the ground. I wasn't like that outside the field, but I suppose it was my way of geeing myself up and possibly bracing myself for a challenge or for the fight ahead. So that, but my celebrations were quite instinctive.
No, but you rightly mentioned that I remember whenever Murli was on the field, he was very competitive. He wanted to get the batsman out, or he wanted to be a part of the game and make sure that he contributes. Now, I will just throw you a few quick fire questions just to try and see what is Murli's taste and blah, blah, blah. You played against under different captains, whether it is Saurav Ganguly or you've seen Indian captains come of age. Your best captain, according to you, from the likes, whether it was Azharuddin or Saurav Ganguly or let's talk about Anil Kumble or MS Dhoni, if you had to pick one, or anybody you have, you feel that the Indian captain, you wanted to play under him or the best captain you feel for India?
Look, for me, I was a bowler, predominantly a bowler. So you always wanted a bowler's captain. And by a bowler's captain, what I mean is he has the trust and confidence in a bowler to do the job. So bowlers are not remote controls for anybody. Just like when batsmen go out, you trust them to make the right call when they bat. Similarly, when the bowlers are thrown the ball, you trust them to do the make, because they also have heads. That's why they are bowlers. So I always felt that anybody who helped you in doing that was a great bowling captain, because he allowed you, as a bowler, I am my captain. I can set my field because I know what I want to do. It's my skill. I am the one who's going to bowl an out swinger, in swinger, arm ball, whatever I'm trying to do. So I always liked those captains who allowed you to do that. And I felt that Mr. Azharuddin was outstanding. For me, as a captain, I had somebody called B.B. Chandrasekhar when I was growing up, and also Abhay Sharma, who was my Ranji Trophy captain. They were outstanding because they treated you like match winners and had the confidence that if Karthik is thinking something, that was something which was very good. Um, I would say that MS had those streaks because when he came in and when he became captain, there were lots of senior bowlers. So he knew exactly what they had to do. Later on, when others came in, when the seniors went and the younger lot came, obviously he had to take charge and guide them. Obviously, I've played with under Virat only at RCB, and that was T20 cricket, which is very, very different. So I always liked captains who were a bowler's captain. Dada was very different. Dada was very hands-on. There are times when you want that. There are times when you want that. You want to do a few things, but Dada's skill was that he would always know who was the right person for the job, and that is something which he backed people to the hilt. When he picked you or when he did something for you, and it wasn't that it was by a pecking order. It was what the gut feel was, what he felt, or whoever he felt could deliver on a certain day. So everybody has got their different traits and characteristics. So it's a tough one to pick, but I would say that I always like bowler captains, people who entrust the bowler or empower
Fair
the
point.
bowler, empower the bowler.
Fair enough. Empower the bowler.
Yeah.
You bowl to different batsmen around the world. Also, you bowl to Indian batsmen. If you had to pick one batsman where you felt that no, he had the upper hand, and you.
I've always said that, and I'll continue to say that Matthew Hayden was one strong batsman where you had to think a million times because he's such a powerful player and he had different answers to different things. And a lot of us have come under his truck many a times.
That's a good one. Huge truck.
Huge truck. A tank, actually.
Yeah. So you felt Matthew Hayden. Now,
Matthew
that
Hayden.
was a left-hander. Generally, the perception is that for a left-arm spinner, classical left-arm spinner, to bowl to a left-hander, it's like bowling in his arc. So if you had to pick one right-hander,
I would say Inzamam ul Haq.
I knew that was coming, because I remember that series against Pakistan where he was a
All
tough nut to
I
get
got
out.
him. I got him a few times. I think I got him twice
I
or
remember
thrice.
that.
But I just felt as a bowler, he was so strong the way he played. And he was in complete control of what he wanted to do. So I would say that. And also from a very different point of view, I've also always been a huge fan of Mohammad Yusuf Yohana. For when you bowl to him, he might not hit you for a big six or but he'll keep milking you. All your good deliveries will be picked for singles. So it's always a tough place for a bowler to be because you want to create pressure. You want to bowl dot balls. You want to work on the batsman. And if he's continuously milking you for singles of your good deliveries, then it becomes very tough.
No wonder he was a street smart cricketer, and you are absolutely right. If you can't hit the boundary, rotate the strike and keep scoring the runs.
Yeah.
All right. So that was about batsmen. Now India had different spinners of different eras, but if I remember from my era, it was Anil Kumble, Harbhajan Singh. Now we have Ashwin, we have Jadeja. If you had to pick one in your squad, who would be that?
I was always a big fan of Harbhajan for the skill he had. Anil Bhai was different. He was he was the greatest match winner India had. But from just a skill point of view, from what I saw spin as and what Bajji could do, I think I would always pick Bajji.
All right. Last question out of this. You played IPL. You've been a part of IPL. Why is that Mumbai Indians probably have gone ahead of the race, ahead of all the teams? What makes them do different compared to other franchise?
It's an interesting one, Anishji, because I've been thinking about it for a while now. They've won it 5 times out of 13 or 14 years. And also you look at the way they handle things right now. They've got great personnel, not just in the playing staff, but also backroom, who understand their roles. And sometimes we might always say too many cooks spoil the broth, but not in this case, because they got very specific and very specialized positions where people trust each other. And I think that's a big word in T20 cricket, because you've got huge squads to manage, huge feelings and emotions. I won't say egos, because huge feelings. As a player, if you and me are in the team, we want to play. We're not just there for a jolly good ride and sitting outside and happy eating the cake and having it too, what a sort of a situation. You want to play. So there are lots of very good cricketers whom you pick, lots of very good cricketers who want to play. So managing everyone, you need the right personnel. I think the way they have gone about things in picking their players and the way they manage them, and also in the way they entrust them, I think has gone a long way. They've all obviously taken a leaf out of Chennai Super Kings book. If you remember early part of Mumbai Indians, they would always chop and change. It was always like, he didn't do something today, he has to go the next day. So that was something which used to happen. Now they trust whom they pick and they play for a long time. And that is something which I've always believed. Just because you've got 25 members in a playing squad, you don't have to play all 25. A winning team and a good team and a strong side and a successful side is always going to work between 13, 14 players, given injuries or horses for courses or whatever. So you need to have that kind of a mentality. That's why MSD is so good. You can fail and fail and fail. He waits for you to succeed. He doesn't wait for you to fail. That is a very important trait to make a good side. You want people to succeed. That's why you've picked it. You want your own logic to bear fruition. That's why you back your logic. And that's what Mumbai Indians have done, and they've done it really well.
So beautifully said, Murali. He waits for you to succeed. And I remember talking to Fleming, and in fact, he has been my coach here in the T10 franchise. He says, I don't change players. And we, as laymen who do not understand the finer points of the game, will always keep saying, "Nahi yaar, ye aaj perform nahi kiya, isko bitha do, naye player ko leke aao." But he says, no, give him the backing, and he will give you the results.
Yeah, Anishji, and more so, T10, T20, all these leagues, there are lots of fabulous cricketers there. And the role of mentors, the role of guys who can guide the cricketers is of equal importance as much as picking the players. Because you look at a Fleming, he's a calm head. You look at a Mahela Jayawardene, a Zahir Khan, a Shane Bond who's there with them, Robin Singh. You look at all these guys, Mike Hussey. So it's not just about helping somebody with their game, but it's also taking them through the trials and tribulations of a sportsman's career. Of when you're doing well, you still have an arm around somebody's shoulder. When you're not doing well, you still have an arm around somebody's shoulder and guide him through. Then, that feeling of being wanted in a team is always going to persist. So you'll always have, even if somebody doesn't play a few games and he comes back into the team, he's going to give you everything because he knows that he's wanted in the team. If people don't talk, the communication lines close in a team, then people go very inward. They go into a shell. They feel shackled. They don't know what to do. When the next time they play, they don't know, is somebody waiting for me on the chopping block to take me out? So these are important things to play. It's basically like an HRD department. How well you manage within a team with people who are outside is of crucial importance as well.
Beautifully said by Murali Karthik. That's why I told in the beginning of the introduction of this gentleman that he analyzes the game. Like, he speaks well, he talks sense. And that is where we had Murali Karthik. Thank you so much, brother, for giving us time. We hope you are safe and sound in Delhi, and we'll hope to welcome you in UAE whenever you are out of the bubble.
Thank you, Anishji. Thank you very much for having me, and thanks for those kind words once again.
Take care, bro. Have a great Sunday.
Thank you, Anishji.
Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Look forward to catching you soon, okay?
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Bye.